Okay, in the last section we talked about adding and subtracting mixed numbers in mixed numbers form. We're going to look at another way to do this, and this is going to be by converting to improper fractions. So in order to do this, we're going to go ahead and convert the mixed numbers into improper fractions. We want to perform the operation, and then we're going to simplify and convert back to mixed numbers. Now, one of the things that I like about this is that when you see mixed numbers, your automatic reaction should be convert to improper and then worry about what to do next. Depending on the complexity of the problems, this may be a little bit challenging. You may be dealing with larger numbers that are a little bit more difficult. I've done my best on the homework to make sure that the problems selected can be done either way. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into some examples. Okay, let's start with example A. We have 2 3/8 plus 3 3/4. Again, we're going to start with our estimate. Three-eighths is less than 1/2, so we're going to round down to 2. 3/4 is bigger than 1/2. We're going to round up to 4. If we add, we get 6. Okay, so for our exact answer, let's go ahead and convert to improper. We get 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19 over 8. For our second number, we get 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 is 15 over 4. Now, since we are adding, we do want to find our least common denominator. And the smallest number divisible by 8 and 4 is 8. So my first fraction will stay the same. My second fraction, to get from 4 to 8, we multiply by 2. We do the same thing to the top and bottom. So we get 15 times 2 is 30. 4 times 2 is 8. All right, if we go ahead and add, we add our tops. 19 plus 30 is 49 over 8. This fraction does not simplify. 49 and 8 do not have any common factors. So our last step is to convert back to a mixed number. So 8 goes into 49 6 times. We multiply. 6 times 8 is 48. We subtract, we get a remainder of 1. So this is equal to 6 1/8. All right, let's try another one. Let's look at example B. Starting with our estimate. 2/3, is that bigger than 1/2 or less than 1/2? It is bigger, so we are going to round up to 5. 4/5 is also bigger than 1/2, so we're going to round up to 3. And if we subtract, we get 2. All right, so now let's go ahead and convert to improper. For our exact answer, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 2 is 14 over 3, minus 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14 over 5. My LCD, The smallest number divisible by 3 and 5 is 15. First fraction, to get from 3 to 15, we multiply by 5. We do the same thing to the top. And 5 times 14, we should get 70. To get from 5 to 15, we want to multiply by 3. 14 times 3 is 42 over 15. And now if we subtract, if you're not sure, we can always come off to the side and do our subtraction. I'm going to borrow from the 7, make it a 6, and I'm going to make the 0 into a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 6 minus 4 is 2, and so this is equal to 28 over 15. We cannot simplify the fraction, there are no common factors, so the last thing I want to do is convert back to a mixed number. 15 goes into 28 one time, we multiply, get 15. And if we subtract, we get 13. So this is equal to 1 and 13 over 15. All right, a couple more. Let's look at example C. We start with our estimate. There's no fraction attached to 5, so we're just going to leave it at 5. 3/8 is less than 1/2, so we're going to round down to 1. And 5 minus 1 is 4. So now if we go ahead and work on our exact problem, I'm going to write 5 over 1. Minus 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11, my LCD, the smallest number divisible by 1 and 8 is just 8. My first fraction, to get from 1 to 8, we multiply by 8 to top and bottom. We get 40 over 8. My second fraction stays the same. And if we go ahead and subtract 40 minus 11, we borrow from the 4. The 0 becomes a 10. We should get 29. This does not simplify any further, so we just need to convert to a mixed number. 8 goes into 29 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. Subtract, we get 5. And so as a mixed number, this is equal to 3 and 5/8. All right, last one. For our estimate, 3/4 is bigger than 1/2, so we're going to round up to 1. 1/6 is less than 1/2, so we're going to round down to 3. And if we add, we get 4. All right, let's convert to improper. 3/4, since there's no whole number, it will just stay the same. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19 over 6. All right, let's do LCD. The smallest number divisible by 4 and 6 is 12. So to get from 4 to 12, we want to multiply by 3. We're going to do the same thing to the top, so we get 9 over 12 plus, to get from 6 to 12, we multiply by 2, and we get 38 over 12. If we go ahead and add now, 9 plus 38, we should get 47 over 12. 47 and 12 have no common factors, so we are left with just converting back to a mixed number. 12 goes into 47 3 times. 3 times 12 is 36. And if we subtract, we get 11. So this is equal to 3 and 11/12. All right, so that takes care of some examples in terms of converting to improper fractions. As I said, me personally, I like this just because you don't have to worry about different cases. You don't have to worry about borrowing or carrying, and it's just very straightforward for me personally. But on homework, quizzes, tests, I don't mind which method you use, as long as your work is comprehensive. As long as I can follow what you were doing, you should be okay. All right, last thing, let's go ahead and look at a couple of word problems. Let's start with example A. It says Zanisha worked 3 5/6 hours on Monday and 6 1/2 hours on Tuesday. How much longer did she work on Tuesday than on Monday? Remember that we can use estimate to not only help us find the answer, but to help us figure out what our operation should be. So let's go ahead and say, instead of 3 5/6, let's go ahead and round that. Let's say she worked 4 hours on Monday, 6 1/2, if we round that, that rounds to about 7 hours on Tuesday. And now, how much longer did she work on Tuesday than on Monday? Well, she worked an extra 3 hours. So for this problem, this is a subtraction problem. Some phrases that tell us subtraction, how much longer, that's another way of saying how much more. So this is going to be a subtraction problem. So if we set this up, we get 6 1/2 minus 3 5/6. I'm going to go ahead and convert to improper. I get 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, minus 6 times 3 is 18, plus 5 is 23 over 6. We need an LCD. The smallest number divisible by 2 and 6 is 6. The first fraction, in order to get from 2 to 6, we want to multiply by 3. Again, we're going to do it to top and bottom. So we get 39 over 6 minus, second fraction can stay the same. And if we subtract, we get 16 over 6. I want to go ahead and simplify my fraction. Both of these numbers are divisible by 2. If we divide by 2, we get 8 over 3. To convert that back to a mixed number, 3 goes into 8 2 times. We multiply to get 6, and 8 minus 6 is 2. So my final answer is going to be 2 2/3 hours. All right, let's look at one more. We have Richard's son grew 3 5/8 inches last year and 2 1/4 inches this year. How much has his height increased over the 2 years? Sorry for the typos. Okay, so we want to know the total increase of the 2 years. If we estimate 3 5/8, 5/8 is bigger than 1/2, so this is about 4 inches last year. 2 1/4 inches, we're going to round down. 1/4 is smaller than 1/2, so 2 inches this year. And so how much has his height increased over the 2 years? We should get a total of 6. So my operation is going to be addition. So let's go ahead and set up our exact problem. I'm going to go ahead and convert to improper. 8 times 3 is 24, plus 5 is 29 over 8, plus 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9 over 4. LCD, the smallest number divisible by 8 and 4 is 8. So 29 over 8, that can stay the same. To get from 4 to 8, we want to multiply by 2. And we get 18 over 8. And now if we add 29 plus 18, just to make sure I get it right, 8 plus 9 is 17. 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4. So we get 47 over 8. If we convert back to a mixed number, 8 goes into 47 6 times. Sorry, that is not right. That gets me to 48. We get 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. And if we subtract, we get 7. So this is going to equal 5 7/8 inches. All right, that takes care of this section. We have one section left before we are done. The last thing that we're going to do is order of operations, and we're just going to kind of treat it as a review of all of our operations involving fractions. So go ahead, take a quick break, and I will see you again shortly.